Home loans are defaulting as over 500,000 Americans are now underwater in their properties. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, buckle up, strap in. We got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows, no sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing great. So let's jump back on the real estate merry-go-round and examine the good, the bad, and maybe a little bit of the ugly.
No, Scott, talk about rainbows and sunshine and lollipops.
Somebody's got to read between the lines and look between the economic cracks. More economic cracks, right? Spoiler alert. Insanity. You almost got to laugh at this stuff. It's like a built-in self-defense mechanism. Wrap your head around the severity, the magnitude of the waters we're now navigating, right? Insane. The biggest artificially induced housing bubble ever witnessed in human history couldn't sustain itself? Yes, it's true. It's not. And I've warned about this, during the height of the euphoria as an agent, deemed an essential worker, seeing this play out in real time, boots on the ground, while other agents were grandstanding. I was here on YouTube saying, this is dangerous. Please be careful right now. Please insulate yourself. Do not overextend yourself. Do not become house poor. And that's what's happening right now is 500,000 Americans as we speak. I'm sure the number's gone up as we're speaking. It's going up, obviously. It's just going higher. They cannot keep up with their house payments anymore. The defaults are now starting. And like I've said before, real estate's local. All areas will behave differently. Some will be the first to get hit. Some will be the last to get hit. Some will be the first to climb out. Some will be the last to climb out. Some will get hit harder. Some won't get hit as hard. But everybody gets touched in a deep cycle recession. And we cannot rule out the dreaded economic depression, which I haven't lived through and you haven't lived through. Maybe our parents. My mom is a depression baby. I was talking to her the other day, and God bless her. She's just not into economics, but she remembers that. And she even told me the other day as we got on the subject, history always repeats itself, Scott. And I said, you're right, Mom. And guess what? An economic depression has cycled throughout recorded history approximately every 80 to 100 years like clockwork. And we're in the 80 to 100 year cycle right now. So just with that alone, if history repeats itself, we're up against it. But it's better or worse, depending on how you look at it. The thing that put us here today, that put gasoline on that fire, was the crisis. Not for the crisis, we're not talking. The lockdowns did this, and then leadership. What leadership did really, really caused it was stimulus money, stimulus programs, and stimulus measures, right? We had checks show up, and then we had programs like PPP loans or mortgage forbearance, and then we had essential workers targeted at each sector. Those are measures, programs, money. And so I was one of those measures. I remember I was locked at home, and then we had a meeting at the brokerage, and guess what? We've been deemed essential workers to make sure the housing market doesn't crash. But we kicked the can too far down the road. Leadership did, and they left the interest rates artificially low too long. And the second it started to exhibit that bubble behavior, they should have risen it. So today we're going to get out of the problem and in the solution. We've got to talk about a little bit what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. But more importantly, what's coming down the pipe. Definitely a correction, possible recession, and a depression cannot be ruled out. In fact, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would have to put my money on an economic depression, which I don't want to because I've never lived through a depression. I lived through a Great Recession. Never a depression, neither of you. And we don't know what that feels like yet, but we might get that opportunity. And I would imagine almost every human being in their lifetime will get to experience that. I hope in my kids, college-aged, if we get into depression, they can rebound from it while they're still young, and they can avoid a second depression when they're old. Although I'd probably prefer to go through it when I'm older, because most people when they're older are better equipped to handle these situations. Insanity, right? Insanity. Pray for our kids, man. Pray for our kids, man. They really need it. Really need it. Pray for mine every night. Every night. Grateful for them too. Now, the reality is this. We're going to jump over to Forbes here in a second and take a look what one of their experts is forecasting and reporting on. And one of the things I've always said here is once you start to see news outlets reporting on the things we're going to see today, it started. And the thing that was hard for me is I'm just a normal average Joe, probably not much different than a lot of you watching today. But I lived through the great financial crisis and suffered some of its blowback. I work in real estate and I own real estate, commercial and residential. I've been managing it and buying and selling for other people for long enough to know that this is not good. And what we're seeing, I wish that the leadership should have known better than to do what they did. And news outlets should have been reporting, instead of the red hot housing market and vacation rentals and stock market, they should have been reporting on being cautious, and they just weren't. And that's why so many of us now watch YouTube, from real people that aren't controlled by some higher up in a newsroom, that are able to be free thinkers, critical thinkers, and report without any repercussions from an employer, right? I mean, for the most part. I mean, a lot of us, I used to get that all the time. Like, doesn't your brokerage not like the way you're reporting? I don't care. This is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to have my opinion. I'm not controlled. I'm a commissioned sales guy as far as they're concerned. So they don't care. And thank God for all of us, right? And especially for you guys watching today. If you're new, get subscribed. I'd love to have you. Iron will sharpen iron. We're going to sharpen some iron today. We're going to jump over and take a look at an article from one of Forbes' experts. See what they have to say about the state of mortgages and the economy right now, and see if it's rainbows and sunshine or something we should actually be paying attention to. Let's cut over to that article right now, and then we'll meet back here and wrap it up. Let's get started. All right, friends, this article comes courtesy of Forbes, and it's titled, Mortgage Delinquencies Are Exploding, What Smart Investors See Coming. This one's by Jim Osman, senior contributor. Jim Osman is a finance expert with over 30 years of experience. So it appears this guy might know a little bit of what's going on. Let's go ahead and continue reading. The national delinquency rate is only 3.2% on paper, but things are different behind the scenes. VantageScore and Investopedia both say that what lenders are currently witnessing is true. Early delinquencies are rising faster than any other type of consumer credit. The stress is real. It's coming on early, and it's going faster than most investors think. This reality reframes the macro picture. It confirmed what many investors have felt beneath the surface. This isn't just about high interest rates or inflation fatigue. It's about behavioral collapse. The U.S. consumer is no longer just stretched, they're snapping. For all the talk about a soft landing, this is a hard truth. We're witnessing the early stages of a credit deterioration cycle that markets are failing to price in. It's showing up first in subprime auto, now in mortgages, and next it may bleed into broader consumer credit and regional banks. This isn't a doom prediction. It's a recognition of inflection points I've spent my career identifying. The signs are flashing red for sectors exposed to leveraged consumers and real estate-linked lending. Investors need to ask, where's the risk hiding? Which companies are fragile? And more importantly, which ones are built to survive the storm? The ripple effects of a spike in mortgage delinquencies could be significant for equities, especially as we look towards 2026. Those chasing high-end beta names and ignoring balance sheet quality might be walking into the next drawdown. What's really driving the spike in mortgage delinquencies? Rather than treating this increase as a statistical anomaly, investors should look at it as a result of three powerful forces converging beneath the surface of the economy. Those who ignore them are missing early warnings. The first is interest rate fatigue. After 2 years of relentless tightening by the Federal Reserve, the impact is finally hitting home. Variable rate resets on mortgages and home equity lines of credit are taking a toll. Credit card balances are ballooning. For many Americans, home ownership is no longer just unaffordable to achieve, it's becoming unaffordable to maintain. Second, there's a pandemic overhang and the disappearance of so-called excess savings. That story has ended. Consumers have already spent on their reserves trying to maintain lifestyle spending during periods of high inflation. Now the cushion is gone. What remains is a fragile financial position with no room for error. Third, wage stagnation among lower income earners is compounding the problem. Nominal wages may have increased, but real wage growth for most working Americans has failed to keep up with the pace of the cost of living. Prices have climbed, paychecks have not. Every expense now feels heavier. The margin of error no longer exists. Article concludes with, mortgage delinquencies are not a blip in the data. They are a leading indicator. They are the first crack in a leveraged economy, and that matters for every investor trying to assess risk as we head into 2026. And there it is there. The writing clearly is on the wall. If you read between the lines and look between the cracks, this is true not only for investors, but for homeowners, which for all intents and purposes are investors themselves. This is the writing on the wall. You never want to have the biggest asset class in the world, the U.S. housing market, displaying cracks. And clearly it is. This was unsustainable growth, and now the chickens are coming to roost. Let's get back to the studio and wrap this one up. All right, friends, welcome back. And there you go. So it's clearly challenges, and this is a lot of homeowners now defaulting. Well, not a lot. There's more defaults now with mortgages than subprime auto loans. There's the two biggest purchases we make in our life is our cars and our homes. That's it. I mean, those are two huge marketplaces. But the fact that right now what we're seeing is the credit defaults in mortgages are leading the charge. It's courtesy of a housing bubble that couldn't sustain itself, something I've reported on since day one during the euphoria. And I warned you guys, and God bless all of you. If you're here with me today, you've probably been with me for a while. And if you're new, thank God you found me. Because the reality is this, we warned on this. And I was called a doom and gloomer, a shock jock, a lot of things. Now, I always try to entertain, educate, inform. Nobody wants to watch paint dry or somebody talk about the data and the tea. No, you want real life experience, real people, raw, unedited, not clipped up, manufactured, bubblegum content. You want somebody just give it to me straight. And that's what we're doing here. So this is the facts. It's now on. The mortgage defaults are spiking. So it's trending in the wrong direction, depending on how you look at it. Like you said, if you're an investor and you're ready for this, you're great. But most of them drank the economic Kool-Aid. Most of them. And when all that stimulus was floating around, everybody was spending like it was going to last forever. It changed our habits. And I've seen this before. In fact, I reported on this prior to even reading this article. I didn't need to read this article to know what's going on. I already knew. People don't want to compromise their lifestyles. They bought big, expensive homes based on a model unit that was staged and furnished in color schemes to perfection under a think tank and a sales office without agent representation. They fell right into the lap of these builders, sales team, and that's what's happening now. And now, so not only they were taking vacations and eating out, and now everything's doubled. Your vacations doubled, your meals doubled, grocery store bills doubled. People are starting to tighten their belts, but most of them don't want to, especially if there's one wage earner. And then this was me in the last downturn, family, kids, we're going on vacation every summer. School year's come, time for clothes and backpacks and all those things. I'm like, hey, listen, I don't know if you've noticed this. We're in a recession and it's touched us. We cannot do the same vacation as we did last year or exceed it. In fact, we got to reduce what we did last year. We got to do something different. We got to go camping, even camping these days. They want $50 a night to spend the night in the dirt with the fire pit. I used to be able to get a Motel 6 for $50. Now it's $150. Insanity. And they have shrinkflation or shadowflation at these hotels. They're charging you for a room service, for basically, to come make your bed. And half the time we're like, don't disturb me. I don't need you to come in here and wander around my room. I'm enjoying the room. I don't want you to get kicked out of my room right now. So you're paying to have your room cleaned, but you're not even taking advantage of the cleaning service because you don't need it. Like, I've only been here a day. I don't need you in here cleaning it. Now, if you need some towels, you just call, send me some towels. That's shadowflation. Charging you for stuff you're not even receiving. They're charging you for making the bed, emptying the waste cans, vacuuming the room, cleaning, mopping the floor, whatever they're doing in there, right? We don't know. We're not in there as they're doing it, right? It's insane. It's insanity. So the reality is this. This is the temperature check we need to all watch, the housing market. If we lose the housing market, we lose everything. It will have global ripple effects. It's happened before. It will happen again. History repeats itself. This time, it's a little different. If I had to say it, it's a little worse. Because in the great financial crisis, information spread fast, but not as fast as it spreads now. We have grandmas and toddlers on phones. It's insane. It's insanity. And when I was a kid, it was like the remote, they sold those fake remote controls. As kids, we always grabbed the remote control. No, give me the remote control here to play with this fake one, or take the batteries out of it. Now it's screens. We're just putting screens in screen slaves. That's what my kid calls it. Screen slaves, Dad, or something he calls them. I forgot. Anyway, something like that. And it's just getting way out of hand. And final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator, as a real estate guy that wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understand the waters you're swimming in now. They're shark infested. Mortgages, welcome to the swimming pool. 500,000 people defaulting already, leading the charge in all credit defaults available. It's exceeding credit cards, it's exceeding car loans. Mortgage defaults are leading the charge. I just showed you a report, an article today from Forbes communicating what we've been talking about since day one during the euphoria. Forward thinking, critical thinking. It's better to expect something and have it not happen than have something happen and not be prepared. I didn't want this to happen, but I knew there was a good chance it was, and that's why I turned on this camera and starting to report on it, and that's why I'm going to continue to do it every step of the way, because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, you're going to love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video.